Costas, the commercial director and of SunExpress, and David Friderici of IBS. We want to talk about changing your core system, the PSS. Peter, welcome. David, welcome. So you brought something to start off.
Yes, absolutely. The nice thing about having your boss speak at 8:30 in the morning in a conference, you actually make sure you're in the room on time, and you can skip the entire marketing blog on who we are and what we do for a living, etc. So I rather concentrate on just 3 points. SunExpress was founded nearly 30 years ago as a joint venture between Turkish Airlines and Lufthansa. So in our DNA, we are intercultural. Now, if we're talking about digitalization and innovation, I think that is part of the source of success that we have. It's just the cultural spirit that we bring, because interculturality will bring a lot of different dialogues, there are a lot of different aspects how to look at things, and that's how we do it at SunExpress. The second thing is, we've got a trial and error culture within SunExpress. I said that in a different conference a few weeks back, and everybody was getting very nervous, and they kind of said, oh, can I get my money back? I don't want to fly with you anymore. It's not with our pilots. So trial and error culture, it's absolutely okay to do projects and fail. Actually, I always get blamed by Jens if I just deliver successful projects, because then he said, well, you haven't tried enough. Just try more. And SunExpress was built 30 years ago around the needs of the customer. There's a German word for it, which is called Bedarfsfluggesellschaft. Now, anybody who doesn't speak German now knows why they skipped the German classes. Bedarfsfluggesellschaft. The English equivalent would be charter carrier. Basically, we were built around, and we design our network every half year newly, that we go to our largest customers, the tour operators, and we ask them, where do you need us to fly? Where have you bought your hotel beds? Which risks are you willing to take on which market? And then we start designing our network completely and newly around the needs of our largest customers. Now, the problem with that is that has worked very well for a lot of years, generated good profits, but there's a big fight for profitability in the tourism segment, and whoever is cheapest gets the deal, because you've got the internet, you've got full transparency on prices, etc. So also the large tour operators need to be very, very careful on the margin that they can still give to the charter carriers, which is why we've seen so many market exits over the last few years. Henceforth, cost control, #1 thing. We're always the cheapies, and ask the vendors that are working with us. Yes, we negotiate pretty tough on prices, don't we, Kai? Customer knowledge, absolutely central and key. Everything that we're doing because our customer wants it. And we have to be innovative. We have to be innovative on the way how we actually sell things. Now, selling an aircraft is easy, because a plane is a plane is a plane. Every single one of our 72 737-800s has 189 seats. Now, how much more simple do you want to make selling? Yes, you've got the ancillary stuff and everything. So it's easy. Yeah, is it? Because we actually have 2 types of customers. We've got the tour operator customers, and now we've got the seat-only customers, as we call them. That's the normal people that just go on our website or go into a travel agency and just buy a flight. There's one thing that we do in SunExpress. We have an extremely transparent pricing concept. It's very transparent, it's very fair, and I tell it to everybody. We've got one price list, and that's the price. The price may change from day to day, but that's the price, and that's the price for everybody. There's no discounts at SunExpress, except for if you're willing to take a risk. So if a tour operator comes to me and says, you know what, I will take 20 seats on every of these flights on the Monday morning to Antalya, if it's November and it's 8 degrees, or if it's summer and it's 32 degrees, I don't care, I'm going to take those 20 seats, and here's your money, then I give him a discount. The more risk my customer is willing to take, the better the price is going to be. Here comes the problem. There is no system in the world currently, I learned when I started at SunExpress, that actually manages this kind of deals and the normal tour operator pricing in one system. So you have to split your inventory. You've got the charter inventory, and you've got the seat-only inventory. So when I started in SunExpress 2 years ago, I was walking through my revenue management, and I was like asking the guy, so which flight are you steering? Oh, I'm currently steering the flight to Izmir on Monday. Oh, great. And what are you steering? Yeah, I'm currently steering the flight to Izmir on Monday. Wait. Yeah, I'm steering the tour operator part, and I'm steering the seat-only part. It's like, oh, okay. So what's your prediction? What's going to happen? I've got my allotment, my charter allotment is nearly full. So, you know, I'm limiting the price. I'm really raising the prices. And there's a lot of cheap hotel deals around, so I can do this. And the other one says, well, on the seat-only side, it looks a bit different. So I actually still have a few seats available, so I'm going to lower my price to get the last seats filled. Now, that's the moment when usually my phone rings because my tour operator customers call me and they say, come on, Peter, you told me I get the best price because I take risk on this flight, and now I go on your website and I understand that you're actually selling it cheaper than to anybody, then you're selling it to me? That's not fair. And they're right, it's not fair. So we had to do something, we had to innovate. Yay, digitalization. What did we do? We taught our people to use 2 systems. So now we don't have one person steering the flight in one system and another person steering the same flight in a different system. Now we've got one person steering the flights in 2 systems. Has that solved the problem? Not really, because complexity kicks in. Because now, obviously, we reduced the number of flights that they have to steer, but with the amount of flights that everybody's responsible for, you still can make sure that the pricing is exactly the same every single day. And I promise you I've received, when I go back to my desk, another call on a flight where we haven't managed that well enough, so we have to go one step more. And that step means we want to put everything into one system, into one single inventory. The only problem that there's no airline that currently can do it. Well, so we had to go to a company that shows us how to do it. And we're running the project currently. We're going to go live in October. And for that, we chose a company called, IBS. David and I are going to be working together on a new modern thing, which is called VTK technology. It's voice to click. So whenever he tells me to click, I'll click.
We can do this. So actually, I have to correct him. He is not right. So he's talking about 2 different capacities in the aircraft, and we are talking about 3 different ones. So it's not only the tour operator and the seat-only packs, we are also talking about pooled allotments, because this is actually the part that makes this entire thing. You clicked already.
Oh, sure.
But you can now click. So what we're actually doing is we have some piece within the seat-only inventory that we call pooled allotments. And these allotments can be shared between tour operators and seat-only. And if you click now further, please. And actually, we made it quite simple, because if we would dig down into the details, it would really bore you and would not really be funny. So we have some rules in the system that are actually controlling the pooled allotments, the size of the pooled allotments. And this is being controlled or inspired by revenue management principles. And if you are an airliner, you know that, for instance, seat-only inventory is always controlled by revenue management systems. And what was actually missing is that this piece here that is between the tour operator and that is shared between the tour operator and the seat only also has to be revenue management controlled. And that's what's happening here. So we get recommendations from the revenue management system, in this case it's ARM, and we apply some rules against it to optimize the allotment. And that is actually then causing that you can sell higher yield, you can sell more seats, etc.
I can make my customers more happy.
Exactly.
Now, so the thing is very easy. You know, I do the interesting business stuff, and then I hand it over to him who actually understands what I'm doing. I've been hearing a lot about this. You have to know which customer bought what on your plane when he flew last time. Honestly, I couldn't care less. He might have flown on a different time of day, right? If I fly in the morning, like a classical 6 o'clock departure, yeah, I don't have time. I don't want to have time to actually buy a newspaper. So if somebody gives me a newspaper to buy on board, I'm willing to invest the money. If I'm flying back at 2200, it's nice for my people on board to know that, yeah, I bought a newspaper on my last flight. I'm not going to pay money for a newspaper that was printed in the morning. So, or when I check out of the website, where I booked my ticket on SunExpress.com, and I come to this landing page where I think I've had 4 or 5 discussions only in the last 2 days. Companies approaching me saying, I want to be on that page because then the people click and we can get additional ancillary revenues. That's great, absolutely. The point is, if at the checkout page I have 20 icons of different companies that want to sell me how to make my trip even better, you know what, I'm just going to click continue because it's too much for me. So I need to understand, what is this customer actually willing to buy from me? What is his need? So what price is he going to pay me at what time? What's the influencing factor? If I'm selling umbrellas and it's rainy outside, I'm going to get a higher price than if it is sunny. What is it that he's actually willing to pay for in the first place? And thirdly, which channel is he likely to book on? Where are my customers? That's what we call personalization. Now, when I came to SunExpress, we were on a PSS, a customer service system, where the people told me, but we don't know who the customers are. We can tell you what the PNR is that the traveler has, but if it's 1, 2, 3, whatever. So we had that problem, and we turned to a company to solve that problem that is called, IBS.
Yeah. So in fact, this is one problem of the traditional PSS, so the passenger services systems, the systems where you would book your flights and where you are checking in. The concept is actually a rudimentary one. It's from the past. It's from probably 50 years ago, where you have different pieces in the passenger services systems, and they are not really interacting with modern technologies. They are using very plain interfaces, and we call that, for instance, the PNR, passenger name record, PNL, ADL. These are passenger name lists that we exchange between departure control and between the rest system. But this is very rudimentary. And if you what happens then in the traditional legacy PSS is actually that you have particular people or some people booking on your system. And as you can see here in the sample, we have 2 times customer Peter Miller, and the airline reservation system actually does not know that this is one and the same person. That doesn't work. So the only way how airlines these days are actually trying to compensate this is they use their loyalty programs, Miles & More, Delta Sky Club, etc. The problem with that is 2 things. First of all, it's not in real time. It's actually always happening overnight that they are creating their badge jobs, and not everybody is a loyalty member, right? Not everybody has joined a frequent traveler program of an airline. So the idea is actually very simple. We need something that sits in between all these components, inventory, reservation, fares, etc., that understands who the customer actually is. And that's indeed what we have done. So we have that in the system. In our system, we have customer records. We have customer records, and attached to these customer records, we have the bookings. Meanwhile, we are talking about orders. You might have heard about One Order from IATA, this initiative. And our system is very close to this already. So we have really orders in our system, and they are attached to a customer record. And if we now go one step further, this is, for instance, the customer profile that we have in our system. It shows you a couple of things: travel documents, preferences, credit card details, loyalty details, the booking history of this person. And it has one thing. It's called the customer profile value. We calculate a value of a particular customer in real time. We do this by using today a fare class, a tier level, and the so-called booking history. And the customer, so the airline, can actually define how this formula is being used or how this is defined to really calculate this value. We are also intending to enhance this in the future because we think it's even limited, but it's in the heart of the system. So in the heart of the system, we have this customer record, and that calculates in real time what the value of this particular person is. Things that you also have is, for instance, here you see a fee code or a fee, a particular fee for fast track. And for this particular customer, for instance, you can override the fee for fast track. So you can drill down to a particular customer and say, okay, this customer is so valuable for me, I give him fast track for just €5 and the others pay 20 or whatsoever. So we think personalization is definitely key to enhance travel spend, because today we are running through very flat distribution channels. And if you really would like to get the most out of your business, then you have to personalize. You have to adjust your offerings to what the customer really wants. And this means, at the end, that a PSS needs to take more than just the passenger data, just the customer data. It has to use external influences. So, for instance, what kind of a device type is he using? Social media information processed through big data. Also something that we call the digital context. So where is he? Is he on the road? Is he stuck in a traffic jam? Or is he at the office? So all these kind of things are important in the future for a PSS, and we also, meanwhile, call them actually OMS, Order Management Systems, to really understand what we should offer to the customer. Peter? So and then the traditional approach is this, that we take all this information and apply customer segmentation frameworks against it. So we put particular customers in particular segments, and then we assume this particular customer is probably very likely that he will buy this and this stuff. But in the future, we think this will go a little bit further. So we are today, I would say, in this case. So this is the evolution of personalization, right? So when you look at it, we started with descriptive analytics. So actually, we just tried to understand what happened. Then we tried to use diagnostic analytics, where we said, okay, why did it happen? This is where probably we are today. Maybe we are already a little bit moving towards this area here. Predictive analytics is what we are now aiming for, and we had a lot of discussions about this already the last 2 days. But actually, this is the ultimate goal, right? Prescriptive analysis means actually nothing else than really manipulating the customer. So really telling him what he should buy, and really tell him, guy, this makes a lot of sense if you buy this, and then actually what we all know from Amazon, right? So yeah. So and at the end of the day, what happens is then we have 3 goals for the personalization. That is, increase the likelihood that someone buys. The second thing is sell at the highest possible yield, and you can do this with a lot of instruments. Meanwhile, and find the right moment to sell. And that is something that we, for instance, understood from one of the researchers that Lufthansa has done. Right? They have made this analysis where they say, okay, it doesn't make any sense to try to sell someone an upgrade from economy to business class 2 weeks before departure, but it makes a lot of sense to offer that to him when he's just reaching the airport and understands, okay, I have to fly now the next 10 hours in economy class. Then it makes a lot of sense to give him an upgrade or to offer him an upgrade. And we think that these things are indeed items that will leverage in the future a lot of machine learning algorithms. So from static rules that I've spoken about before, we will see in the future that this will move to dynamic rules controlled by artificial intelligence.
All right. So I need to apologize a little bit to you, Ursula, because this is a future conference, and that's what we actually already have. So I got it clear. I now know what I can sell, and in October I actually will have it even on a system base. I know I have a system where the customer is really in the center of the system, so I can personalize as much as I want to. Now the only thing I need to do is go out there and sell. Now, who of you knows what this is? Now, Marcus, you take your hand down because I stole this slide from you. Sorry, copy with pride. This is the first ever digital camera. Wow, right? Now, things have changed a little bit. This is how we know digital cameras nowadays, right? You know what was invented in exactly the same year that this digital camera was built? That's this. And that's how we... Who knows what this is? This is what... Yeah. Yeah, I learned it too. This is how what travel agencies are seeing when they try to sell our ancillary services. This is the meal code for this is the codes for a vegan meal, a gluten-free meal, Sky Meal A. That might be something that chefs from 2-star Michelin restaurants have worked hard to create with all their sweat, and we call it SkyMeal AXG FRA TFS OB3 XMA L ADT SSR Euro 999. Now, if the customer asks me, so what is this actually? I, as a travel agent, if I'm lucky, I have a PDF file somewhere in my mailbox that I've received from my agency support desk at SunExpress where I can show them a picture. Now, that does not smell nice, that does not look nice, that makes absolutely no appetite. And basically, that is the data standard that we're also exchanging with the majority of the online players. So even in Expedia, like places where you think you're modern when you're actually selling this, it's still all based on this technology. Wait, I shouldn't have done that. So the question is, how do we shake things up? How do we get from here, and I'm including the website sales here. Why do I include the website sales here? I said it in the Caravello discussion before. I'm forcing my customer into a sales dialogue online that is structured as to my IT needs. This is when I need this data to be able to do the next step. Oh, you haven't ticked that box, so I'm sorry, I can't let you to the next page. Oh, now we're very close to conclude the booking, but you haven't given me, that's great. Now you have exactly 3 minutes time to find out what my baggage rules are, because that's the only time I'm going to hold the bookings, and you have to do it in a separate tab because you can't click the back tab because then you have to enter all your data again. That's the way we do online sales. How do we get from there to here? So SunExpress, I believe we're one of the first, I think actually we're the first airline that has full WhatsApp support. How do we do it? Not through chatbot technology, because because WhatsApp is not allowing that. Just took a few call center colleagues of ours, and we said, you know what? Instead of being on the phone with one customer, you can be on WhatsApp with 3 customers at the same time. It's running like crazy. It's innovation. It's maybe technology-driven because we're using WhatsApp, but in the end, it's humans. And the big advantage, why our customers love WhatsApp, the biggest feedback that we're getting is they can think the way that they think. They have the feeling of human intervention, and nobody forces them in a certain structure. So we are on WhatsApp, not the way that we want to be. We want to have it electronically, but we're there, yeah. We want to be on Twitter. We want to be on Facebook Messenger. We want to be on who knows what this is. I didn't know until last week when my niece called me to completely old-fashioned and outdated. This is House Party, a video group chat technology. You know. So how do we get from here to there? And for me and for SunExpress, the answer is, and I promise you I'm going to make an announcement at the conference, SunExpress is now part of the NDC leaderboard, of the IATA leaderboard. Why SunExpress? We are NDC capable. We are level 3 certified since March last year. And I wanted to be part of this leadership board, or leaderboard of IATA, not because of my, hey, this feels absolutely great. I don't even think there's going to be meetings or press conferences or whatever. What I want to show to other airlines and to other industry partners, if a small charter joint venture from Antalya, Turkey can do it, you can do it as well. This NDC standard will actually enable, and David will talk a little bit more about that, but will enable us to move our airline retail into the not even into the future, into today, into what people are expecting from us today, not for tomorrow. So SunExpress is proud member of the IATA leaderboard, and we've vowed to make 20% of our indirect sales powered by an NDC API by 2020. Now, don't tell that to Marcus, because his goal agreement has that already for 2019.
Yeah, and of course, this only works because we have really enabled SunExpress to do this, and we were one of the front runners. There are two different ways how you can implement NDC. You can either extend your passenger services system, or you can do it outside of the passenger services system. And we have really implanted it in the heart of the system. And that comes along with a lot of issues, a lot of advantages. So when you look to the traditional, the legacy model of an airline, distribution model of an airline, you will see that there are scheduling departments, fares and pricing departments, revenue management departments, and they send their information, schedules, fares, inventory, they send this to an external instance, which is usually a legacy PSS, in many cases even the same vendor like the GDS. And the GDS combines that then with interline information that they have, and the airline actually has completely given away the authority on their own product. So actually they do not know what is being sold out there. Of course, you can then put an NDC converter on top of a legacy PSS, and then it behaves like NDC more or less, but it's actually nothing else than a conversion. The problem still remains. There is a legacy system that creates your product, and that is not what we actually want. So that comes along with a couple of disadvantages, and which actually were supposed to be advantages of NDC. So personalization is not possible, no rich content, no complex ancillaries, only legacy interline is possible, and there is, of course, a negative performance impact, which I will show you in a couple of slides later. So we think putting just a layer on top of a legacy PSS is just like driving a fake Ferrari, where you just put a chassis on a, is it a Fiat or is it a Toyota? I don't know. However, so this is the ideal target architecture we would like to end, where you have, we differentiate between an offer-responsible airline and a participating offer airline. And the offer-responsible airline in this case is actually SunExpress. So yeah, that's you. And they will have the full authority on their own fares, on the interline fares, on the rules, how they would like to apply, which routes they would like to offer. They can combine them with their customer profiles, they can combine it with ancillary services, and they also decide which interline partners they will talk to, they will communicate to. So that means the entire thing is completely under the authority of the airline, and the airline gets back control of their own destiny, which we really missed in the past. So then this means, of course, real-time personalization is possible, ancillaries instantly available, so they maintain their ancillaries and they are available in all channels immediately, regardless of whether it's a OTA, a meta search or whatsoever. Rich content directly from the PSS, there are no limitations in respect to interline, and the performance is really great. So we have been level 3 certified already in May 2016. We have NDC already in the system since 2015, so we were really one of the front runners, and we are the PSS, the passenger service system, that has implemented as many messages as no other vendor. So we, as you can see, 17 message pairs, 34 messages in total. This is really unique. This is one of the samples, a real sample. This is Momondo, who is accessing SunExpress in real time. So they sent NDC requests, shopping requests, to the passenger service system, and I have a short video here that shows you how fast this really is. So that really shows you that you can really do real-time requests with NDC without any lack of performance. And I start this video now. So we are doing a search from Frankfurt to Izmir. Press the search button, and what you will see is the first airline that will show up here is SunExpress. Bam. So that's really amazing. It's real time. It's not cached as you usually would know from meta searchers. It's real time. And in fact, we are always in all requests, we are in the sub-second range. This is one of the outcomes that we've had from a hackathon in Dublin, where we had an API management layer in front of our system, and that was measuring the speed of the systems that were routed through the API management system. And what you see here is the response times. The yellow line is iFlyRes, so our PSS, and the green one is from a traditional PSS that put a layer on top. Now, the interesting part is actually that this here is not a linear scale, it's an exponential scale. So that means the yellow line is 100 milliseconds, and the green line is almost 10 seconds. That's the difference between a traditional system that puts a layer on top versus our system where we have implanted this into the system. So we had this already last day, today as well, digital distribution. This is for us key. So we have to open our doors to to improve the business. And the digitalization means actually use the APIs, make it available everywhere, anytime, on any device, and that's what we are trying to achieve with our system.
In the end, it's all very easy. After David and I met last week Monday to prepare this presentation, we went to have a sausage in my favorite Wurstbude, right opposite the street. And this guy, he's called Hans Wurst. Hans Wurst he's doing that. So you come to him, and he looks at you and says, hey, you know what? I didn't sell all my rolls in the morning. Do you want one? I give it for you half price. He'll tell that to me because he knows I'm a cheapie, and he knows that I don't have a problem eating a roll that's half day old. If the lady we're sitting, if the stewardess from next door is coming in, we're sitting next to one of our biggest competitors with her manicured fingers and being very picky about the salad leaves that he needs to put on her salad, he's never going to ask her whether she actually wants the roll or not. He just sees it and, you know what, he's not even bothering. He looks at me at the end of a business day and says, you look horrible, you need a beer. Actually, to be very honest, he usually just puts it there. And, or he says, you like my currywurst? I tried something special today. I got a curry burger. Can you try that for me? He doesn't do that based on technology. He knows that because of all the customers that he has in the day. He just has a brilliant mind and he remembers those people. And that's what we need to do, just with a lot more people, and that's why we need the help of technology. We have a provider that, for many of those cases, has helped us a lot. Yeah, I think the key of this is putting the customer back into the heart of our business. Yes, we are all coming from an engineering world, and it's very difficult to make a plane fly, but in the end, it's easy to make a person happy.
Thank you very much. And as we are a bit near overtime, I have just one question to you. It's not an easy one. Don't be happy. I haven't heard much about how you work together with Lufthansa Group, Eurowings, Austrian Airlines, Swiss, Brussels Airlines. So do they all do their own stuff?
Lufthansa Group and Turkish Airlines are our mothers, right? So we have two mothers, which starts a full discussion about same-sex marriage in Turkey, but that's a very different story. So we have two mothers. And both of those mothers have understood one thing about SunExpress. And that is, we can best work if we're let in peace. And if we need help, it's like, raising kids. Let them do their own mistakes. Let them fail so that they learn. Let them run fast. And what did you say? Run fast and break things? That's how my daughter learned how to walk. But they are always there when we need them. So we can always pick up the phone, if it is with Türk Hava Yolları, is it with Lufthansa, is it with any of the Lufthansa Group carriers, and ask for their support, and they're always there and will help us. But they give us the freedom that we need to grow and blossom.
And will they learn from you?
We've seen points where that has actually happened, yes. But honestly, the business models are very, very different to many cases. So taking what we have, and the big advantage that we have, because this whole direct sales concept still is something in SunExpress where we're doing the first baby steps, gives us a lot of opportunity because we don't have a legacy system in the back that prevents us from doing a lot of stuff. So it's very different.
Thank you very much for open answers, and maybe we get some more customers for you.
You never know.
From the Lufthansa and Turkish Group. Thank you very much. And I'm now looking for Mr.